dear listeners, welcome to our podcast, where we help you improve your English and talk about interesting topics. My name is Linda, and today we have a really exciting topic for you.
Yes, I'm Leo, and today we're going to talk about something that affects all of us in one way or another: freedom. It's a word we hear a lot, but what does it really mean, and why is it important?
That's right, Leo, freedom is a big word, and it means different things to different people. In today's podcast, we'll talk about the meaning of freedom, how it feels to be free, and why it's so important in our lives. So, let's start with this simple question. What is freedom?
When we say freedom, we often think about being able to do what we want, right? It's about having choices. For example, choosing what clothes to wear, what food to eat, or even what job to do. Freedom gives us the power to decide for ourselves.
Exactly. It's about making your own decisions without someone telling you what to do all the time. But freedom isn't just about small choices. It's also about bigger things. Like being able to express yourself, say what you think, or live in a way that makes you happy.
Yes, freedom of speech, freedom of thought, and freedom of movement are all very important. But freedom doesn't mean we can do anything we want, right? There are always some limits.
That's a really good point, Leo. Freedom means having the ability to choose, but it also means being responsible for our choices. For example, if we have the freedom to drive a car, we still need to follow traffic rules. Why? Because if everyone drives however they want, it would be dangerous. So freedom and responsibility go hand in hand.
I like that, Linda. Freedom and responsibility are like two sides of the same coin. If you have one, you must have the other. Think about school, for example. Students might feel free when there are no exams or rules, but learning and growing also come from discipline and structure. Too much freedom without responsibility can lead to problems.
Let's think about how freedom feels. It can be a really happy and powerful feeling. Do you remember a time when you felt really free, Leo?
Oh yes, I remember. Once I went on a long trip by myself. I didn't have to follow anyone's schedule. I just did what I wanted, explored new places, met new people. It felt like a great adventure. That's freedom for me.
Wow, that sounds amazing. For me, freedom can be something simple, like walking in the park without worrying about work or responsibilities. Just enjoying the moment. It gives me a sense of peace.
That's beautiful, Linda. I think for many people, freedom is connected to feeling relaxed, happy, and safe. But what about when people don't feel free? Sometimes people might feel like they are stuck or controlled by others.
You're right. Not everyone feels free all the time. Some people might feel trapped in their jobs or in difficult situations. Or maybe they live in a place where there are strict rules and they can't speak their minds.
That's true. When people don't have freedom, it can make them feel sad, stressed, or even angry. It's important to recognize that freedom is not just something we talk about. It's something we all need to feel happy and healthy.
Exactly. And it's not just about physical freedom, like being able to travel or move around. It's also about emotional freedom, the freedom to feel what we feel without judgment and to express ourselves openly.
We've covered a lot today already. Freedom is about choices, responsibility, and emotions. It's a powerful feeling that helps us live better, but it also comes with responsibilities to ourselves and others.
Yes, and we'll talk more about different types of freedom, like freedom in relationships, at work, and in society.
It sure has, and remember, learning English gives you freedom too. The more you learn, the more you can express yourself in the world. That's why we're here to help you on that journey.
Absolutely.
And now we're diving deeper into the topic of freedom. We'll explore different types of freedom and what they mean in our everyday lives.
Yes, freedom comes in many forms. There's personal freedom, social freedom, emotional freedom, and even freedom at work or in our relationships. We'll try to make these ideas easy to understand, so let's get started.
Let's begin with personal freedom. This is the kind of freedom that is about you. It's about being able to make choices for yourself, like what to wear, where to go, and how to spend your time.
That's right, Leo. Think about a day when you had no plans and no one telling you what to do. You could just wake up, decide to have breakfast in bed, or go out for a walk. That's personal freedom.
I think we all enjoy that kind of freedom, but it's not just about doing nothing or having no rules. Personal freedom also means being independent. It means you can take care of yourself, make your own decisions, and not rely too much on other people.
Exactly. For example, learning how to cook your own meals or managing your own money can make you feel more free. It's empowering, and it makes you feel in control of your life. But personal freedom also means being respectful to others. We can't just think about ourselves all the time.
Yes, being free doesn't mean we can be selfish. It means we can live how we want, but also think about how our choices affect others.
Now, let's talk about freedom in relationships. It might sound strange at first. How can we be free when we're in a relationship with someone else? Isn't that about sharing and working together?
Good question. Freedom in relationships doesn't mean you do whatever you want without caring about the other person. It means both people feel respected and valued. You should feel like you can be yourself, even when you're in a relationship.
Exactly. Whether it's a friendship, a romantic relationship, or even a family relationship, freedom means being able to speak your mind and make choices together. It's about balance. For example, if your friend wants to go to a movie, but you prefer staying in, you should both feel comfortable saying what you really want.
That's so true. When both people in a relationship feel free to be themselves, the relationship becomes stronger. You trust each other and you feel safe, but if one person feels controlled or not listened to, that's when things can go wrong.
Right, relationships should help us feel more free, not less. If you ever feel trapped or like you can't say how you feel, it's important to talk about it and find a solution.
Another important type of freedom is social freedom. This is the freedom we have in our society. For example, the freedom to speak our minds, choose where we live, or decide what kind of job we want.
Yes, social freedom is a big part of living in a democratic society. In many countries, people have the right to vote, to go to school, and to choose what kind of life they want to live. These are things we sometimes take for granted, but not everyone in the world has the same freedoms.
That's a good point, Linda. Some people live in places where they can't express their opinions or make certain choices. It reminds us how important freedom is and how much it affects our daily lives.
Social freedom also means treating everyone equally. It doesn't matter where someone is from, what language they speak, or what their beliefs are. True freedom means everyone should have the same opportunities.
Exactly, and as we learn English, it can open up even more social freedom. Speaking another language gives you more chances to connect with people from different places, explore new cultures, and even work or study in other countries.
Now, let's talk about something a little different: emotional freedom. This is the freedom to feel and express our emotions without fear or judgment.
Emotional freedom is important for our mental health. It's about being able to say, I feel happy or I feel sad, and not feeling like we have to hide it. Some people grow up in places where showing emotions is seen as a weakness, but really, it's a strength.
Absolutely, Leo. Being able to talk about how you feel, whether you're happy, sad, angry, or excited, makes you more connected to yourself and others. And when you can express your emotions, you feel more free inside. You don't have to hold everything in.
That's right. Sometimes people feel trapped by their own emotions, especially if they don't know how to express them. Learning how to talk about feelings, whether in your native language or in English, gives you emotional freedom.
Yes, it's not just about being free on the outside, but also on the inside. So don't be afraid to share how you feel. It's all part of being truly free.
Wow, Today we've really explored some deep ideas about freedom, personal freedom, freedom in relationships, social freedom, and emotional freedom. There's so much to think about.
Yes, we've only scratched the surface. Freedom is a complex idea, and it's different for everyone. But one thing is clear, freedom is something that helps us live better and happier lives.
Exactly. And don't forget, learning English is one way to gain more freedom. The more confident you are in speaking and understanding English, the more doors will open for you.
That's such a good reminder, Leo. And we'll look at how freedom shapes the way we live and how we can protect it.
Okay, and now we're going to explore something really interesting. How does freedom shape the way we live?
Yes, how does freedom affect our daily lives and the choices we make? We all want to feel free, but do we always know what to do with that freedom? This is something we're going to think deeply about today.
Let's start with something very important: choices. Freedom gives us the ability to make choices. Every day, we make choices from what we eat for breakfast to what job we want to do. But sometimes, having too many choices can feel overwhelming. Have you ever felt that way, Linda?
Oh yes, Leo, sometimes having too many choices can be stressful. For example, when I go shopping and see 50 different types of cereal, I don't know which one to pick. It's like too much freedom at once, but that's also part of living in a free society. We have many options, and that can be a good thing.
Exactly. Freedom is not just about having choices, but also knowing how to choose. When you have too many options, it can be hard to make a decision. That's why it's important to know what we want and what's important to us. Freedom gives us the space to figure that out.
That's a really good point, Leo. It's not just about having the freedom to choose, it's about using that freedom wisely. For example, when we choose our friends or where we want to live, these are big decisions that shape our lives. We need to think about what's best for us, not just what feels good in the moment.
Right. Freedom teaches us to be responsible with our choices. It's a skill that we develop over time, and the more we practice, the better we get at making decisions that lead to a happy and balanced life.
Now, let's talk about something that really makes me excited: growth. Freedom is one of the most important things for personal growth. When we're free, we have the chance to learn new things, try new experiences, and grow as people.
I totally agree, Linda. Think about it, if we didn't have the freedom to explore and learn, we'd be stuck doing the same things every day. Life would be very boring, but freedom gives us the opportunity to discover our talents, meet new people, and grow in different ways.
Exactly. For example, when you learn a new language like English, it's a way of growing. You're expanding your mind and your opportunities. Every new word you learn gives you more freedom to express yourself, and that leads to even more growth.
Yes, and it's not just about learning new skills. Freedom also helps us grow emotionally and mentally. When we have the freedom to make mistakes and learn from them, we become stronger and more confident. We learn who we are and what we're capable of.
That's so true. Making mistakes is a big part of growth. And in a free environment, we have the chance to take risks and try again. Without freedom, we might feel too scared to take those chances, and that would stop us from growing.
Now, let's think about freedom in the bigger picture: freedom in society. How does freedom shape the way we live together as a community?
That's a great question. Leo, freedom in society means that everyone has the chance to contribute and make their voice heard. For example, when we live in a free society, we can vote for our leaders, speak up about issues that matter to us, and work together to make the world a better place.
Yes, and it also means that we can live our lives the way we choose, as long as we respect others. That's really important. Freedom doesn't just mean doing what you want. It also means understanding that other people have the same rights as you.
Exactly. In a free society, everyone should have the same opportunities to succeed. But with freedom comes equality. Everyone should have the chance to be heard, no matter their background, gender, or beliefs. True freedom means creating a society where everyone has a voice.
That's a really powerful idea, Linda. Freedom isn't just about one person, it's about all of us. When we work together and respect each other's freedom, we create a better world for everyone.
But let's not forget, freedom also has its challenges. It's not always easy to be free. Sometimes people feel lost or unsure because they don't know what to do with their freedom. Have you ever felt that way, Leo?
Yes, I think we've all felt that way at some point. Sometimes when we have too much freedom, it can feel like we don't have a clear direction. It's like standing at a crossroads and not knowing which path to take.
Exactly. And that's when freedom can feel more like a burden than a gift. But here's the thing, those moments of confusion are also part of the journey. They help us figure out what really matters to us. It's okay to feel unsure sometimes.
Yes, it's important to remember that freedom comes with challenges, but those challenges can make us stronger. When we face difficulties and make tough decisions, we grow. We learn more about ourselves and the world around us.
That's such a good point, Leo. Freedom isn't always easy, but it's worth it. It gives us the chance to explore, grow, and become the best version of ourselves. And when we feel lost, we can always reach out for help, whether it's from friends, family, or even a community like this podcast.
So, today we've talked about how freedom shapes our choices, our growth, and our society. We've also looked at some of the challenges that come with being free. There's a lot to think about.
Yes, freedom is a journey, not a destination. It's something we work on every day, in the choices we make and the way we live our lives. And remember, freedom isn't just about being free from something, it's about being free for something. Free to learn, free to grow, and free to connect with others.
That's beautifully said, Linda, and as always, learning English is one way to gain more freedom. The more you improve your language skills, the more opportunities you'll have to explore the world and connect with people from all walks of life.
Exactly, and we'll talk about how we can protect and cherish our freedom, and what we can do to make sure everyone has the opportunity to be free.
And we will talk about why freedom is so valuable and how we can make sure it lasts, not just for us, but for future generations.
That's right, Leo, and we explored what freedom is, how it shapes our choices and growth, and how it helps build a fair society. But freedom is not something we can take for granted. It's something we need to care for and protect.
Let's start with what it means to cherish freedom. To cherish something means to appreciate it, to value it deeply. Freedom is one of the greatest gifts we can have. It allows us to be who we are, to follow our dreams, and to live a life full of possibilities. But do we always remember how lucky we are to have it?
That's a really good question, Leo. Sometimes we don't fully appreciate freedom until we feel like we're losing it. Imagine if one day someone told you that you couldn't speak your mind or that you weren't allowed to choose what job you wanted to do. How would you feel?
I'd feel really upset. Linda, freedom is so important to me and I can't imagine living without it. But that's why it's so important to stop and think about how much we have and how we should never take it for granted. Every day, we have the chance to make choices, learn new things, and connect with others because we are free.
Exactly. One way we can cherish freedom is by being mindful of the choices we make. Every decision we take, big or small, is a reflection of our freedom. Whether it's choosing what to wear, who to be friends with, or how to express ourselves, these are all moments of freedom that we should recognize and appreciate.
Now, let's talk about protecting freedom. Freedom isn't just something we have, it's something we need to protect, but how do we do that?
Great question, Leo. Protecting freedom means standing up for it when it's threatened. It means making sure that everyone has the same opportunities to be free. One of the best ways to protect freedom is to respect other people's rights. Freedom isn't just for one person or one group, it's for everyone.
Yes, it's important to understand that freedom comes with responsibility. Just because we're free to do something doesn't mean we can do anything we want, especially if it hurts others. True freedom is when we respect each other's rights and work together to create a better, fairer world.
That's so true, Leo. One way to protect freedom is by being kind, respectful, and understanding of others. For example, we may have different opinions, beliefs, or lifestyles, but that doesn't mean we should stop someone else from living their life the way they choose. We protect freedom by allowing others to be themselves, just as we want to be free to be ourselves.
Another important point is how freedom connects to community. When we live in a community, we all share the responsibility to protect each other's freedom. That's why it's important to work together, speak up when something's wrong, and support each other in times of need.
Absolutely, Leo. Think about how communities can come together to protect their freedom. For example, when people vote in elections, they're using their freedom to have a say in how their country or city is run. They're helping to make sure their community stays free and fair for everyone.
Yes, voting is a big part of protecting freedom. But even on a smaller level, we can protect freedom by standing up for what's right. If you see someone being treated unfairly or their rights being taken away, you can speak up and support them. Sometimes, protecting freedom is about being brave enough to do the right thing.
I agree, Leo. And this idea of protecting freedom in our communities can even go beyond voting or speaking up. It can be as simple as being kind and inclusive, making sure that everyone feels welcome and respected, no matter who they are.
Now, let's think about the future. Freedom isn't just about today, it's about tomorrow, too. It's something we need to pass on to future generations, but how do we do that, Linda?
That's such an important question, Leo. One way we can protect freedom for future generations is by teaching them about it. When children grow up understanding the value of freedom and how to protect it, they will continue to cherish and defend it as adults. We can teach them by showing them what respect, kindness, and fairness look like in our daily lives.
Yes, education plays a huge role in keeping freedom alive. And it's not just about teaching history or laws, it's about teaching values like respect for others and the importance of equality. When we teach the next generation these values, we're helping to build a world where freedom thrives.
That's so true. And it's not just children who need to learn about freedom, we all do. Freedom is something we must keep learning about and reflecting on throughout our lives. The more we understand what freedom means, the better we can protect it for ourselves and others.
Before we wrap up, Linda, I want to touch on one last point: freedom and hope. Freedom gives us hope for a better future. When we're free, we can dream big and work toward those dreams. We have the power to make changes in our lives and in the world around us.
That's such a beautiful thought, Leo. Freedom is closely tied to hope because it gives us the belief that anything is possible. Whether it's learning a new language, starting a new job, or making the world a better place, freedom gives us the chance to imagine and create a better future.
Yes, and hope is what drives us forward, even when things are tough. When we feel free, we can keep moving toward our goals, no matter the obstacles in our way. Freedom gives us the strength to keep going, to keep believing in what's possible.
So, as we come to the end of our podcast on freedom, I hope you've learned a lot about what it means to be free, how freedom shapes our lives, and why it's so important to cherish and protect it.
Freedom is one of the most valuable things we have. It's not just about making choices, it's about living a life full of possibilities, respecting others, and working together to create a fair and just world. And remember, with freedom comes responsibility. We all have a part to play in making sure that everyone has the opportunity to live freely.
Exactly. As you go through your day, take a moment to appreciate the freedom you have and think about how you can protect it for yourself, for your community, and for future generations.
And don't forget, learning English is one way to expand your freedom. The more you improve your language skills, the more you can connect with others, explore new opportunities, and express yourself freely.
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. We hope you feel inspired to think about freedom in new ways and to make the most of the freedom you have. Bye for now.
Goodbye.